Have you ever dreamed of exploring the moon? Where would you go? What might you discover? Well, the good news is NASA is heading back to the lunar surface. And while most of us may never make the journey to the moon for real, virtual reality can take us there as part of the exploration experience. Virtual reality, or VR for short, creates immersive 360-degree digital worlds that span the realms of fantasy to real-life places. NASA is using VR to visualize the surface of the moon in preparation for upcoming missions. Visualizing landing sites is not a new thing for NASA. Even for the Apollo missions, before VR, teams of scientists and engineers were coming up with all sorts of ways to show the crews what the landscapes will look like when they get there. For Apollo 15, a giant plaster model of Hadley Rill and the Apennine Mountains was illuminated with bright lights to show how the shadows would play across the landscape during the descent and landing. The United States Geological Survey even went as far as recreating an area of the Sea of Tranquility in a volcanic cinder field near Flagstaff, Arizona. This unique site allowed crews from Apollo to navigate around a gauntlet of craters as they practiced scientific tasks for their missions. Today, scientists and astronauts still visit geologic locations on Earth that resemble places on the moon as part of their research and training. However, nothing can fully capture, as Apollo 11 lunar module pilot Buzz Aldrin put it, the magnificent desolation of the moon. This is where VR comes into play. Virtual reality is another tool in NASA's toolbox to help us prepare for different missions. VR is already used extensively to prepare crews for missions to the International Space Station. Now, VR is being used to prepare for upcoming missions to the lunar surface. Using data collected by NASA's Lunar Reconnaissance Orbiter spacecraft, our team at NASA's Goddard Space Flight Center has been developing virtual reality landscapes of the moon. Our goal is to use VR as a means to give the user a boots-on-the-ground view of different landing sites before we even get there. At a fundamental level, we can use VR to visualize what the terrain will look like as we follow a traverse path and to track the change in the position of the Sun and the Earth, as well as the shadows on the ground, depending what time of year a mission takes place. One region under consideration for future missions is the lunar South Pole. This area is an extreme terrain of large impact craters, and the Sun constantly stays low on the horizon, creating long shadows, similar to what you might see at a sunrise or sunset here on Earth. While some of these areas stay in nearly constant sunlight, other areas stay permanently in shadow. To better understand what these extreme lighting conditions will look like for a crew exploring the lunar South Pole, our team has developed a lunar lighting tool that allows the user to choose a date and a time for a mission, and then see what areas will be in sunlight and what areas will be in shadows during the duration of that mission. This information will be critical for planning where a crew would travel and the scientific tasks they will perform during an extravehicular activity. As a case study, we have recreated surface images from the different Apollo missions in VR with the lighting tool set at the same day and time during the original mission. Another powerful aspect of VR is that it not only allows us to visualize a mission before we go, but it also allows us to revisit a landing site long after the mission is over. More advanced VR capabilities will allow scientists and engineers to plan multiple aspects of a mission. This includes planning the traverse routes, using scientific tools, deploying and operating instruments, and interacting with the lander and vehicles. All of these different elements add up to provide a sense of realism for the teams of people planning activities on the lunar surface. Eventually, VR will be used to familiarize crews and ground teams with the landing site and various mission activities. As NASA moves forward into the next stages of lunar exploration, we will use VR to take you on the mission with us, on a mission beyond reality.